All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Echochamber, Planetside 2 podcast. I'm here with, of course, my co host Thel, but also special guest DokP, who is both dear friend and current outfit leader of Hot, the outfit that me and Thel played for in Outfit Wars. And yeah, he's also Planetside 2 YouTuber and streamer and has been playing the game for at least as long as me and Thel. So, yeah, welcome, Doc. Hello.
Hey, great to be here.
All right, and I mean, one of the main topics of today going to be outfits in particular, as we've spent the other few episodes talking about more intricate game mechanics like the actual infantry balance, etc. And now we're kind of strafing into the realm of the abstract, because there is not much to work with at the moment, I think, at least. Now, what is your current right? People are always talking about that outfits and squad plays pretty bland. What is your take on that? How do you feel about playing it right now?
I don't think it's bland. I mean, outfit and squad stuff is widely a community thing. It is what you make it, and I would say since the escalation update, that Planetside gives you pretty much all the tools to do what you need to do, and the rest is really just on on the people doing it and on your creativity as a community or as a leader.
Do you think how much does outfit play get influenced by the state of the game? So, I mean, obviously, squad composition, so who you put where, that of course gets influenced by how the game plays. But on a macro scale, right? Like, let's say, of course, we don't play outfit wars all the time, right? Most people, when they play their little squad play sessions, they go and play they have ops or something on Sunday, right? Do you think that it has improved the quality of the game or worsened it, and why?
Do you mean for ops and outfit gameplay specifically?
Well, just give me a take on both, I'd say, no? Because I mean, you don't have ops all the time, right? It's like 1.5 hours a week or something. And so whether or not, right? So it both sides do kind of matter, no?
I mean, I don't know. Talking about the general state of the game is always tough.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not playing too much currently because it's outfit wars burnout,
yeah, true.
and not so great balancing decisions. But I think I can't ever remember a time where outfit ops were specifically more unfun because of the. Okay, actually, outfit ops were definitely less fun on the Osho.
Yeah.
Doing all that stuff. But it takes a lot to make, because when you have 12 plus people, it's not really about game balance and that kind of stuff, or game balance and the general state of the game anymore, because you can have a big impact, and then you don't really have to pay attention to all the small things anymore that would piss you off as a singular player. But obviously, the whole fight zerg stuff, Osho, and the overpop problems are definitely a problem.
Yeah, I
had
ops. Yeah, that for sure. Yeah, that can be kind of a because you have to decide where you're gonna dump your guys on, right? And then sometimes it's just I don't know, 96 player Zerg just completely denying you one lane. And of course on Osha that's especially bad because there's 3 lanes.
Yeah,
and no room to move around on those lanes, right? It's a very, very narrow thing. So it's a choke point all the time.
I guess it depends, because you could technically go around and have a water base fight if you don't value your time. You can have that, yeah.
Well, if you value your time, you're probably not even playing to begin with. So
depends.
yeah, true.
Yeah, it isn't that bad like, I don't know, it depends. You can play like 1.5 hour of Planetside without throwing, like, without burning your time away, say it's whatever. But you said it kind of, because so one of the reason I was prompted to invite you, Doc, is because the recent changes to bastions, and not only that, also the return of the spawn system kind of plays into what you already talked about, right? Like that a zerg can be like a pretty significant speed bump in your in your attempt to paint the map, right? And so removing, for example, right, because bastions were always kind of thought about as these anti-zerg machines, right? That you're supposed you can pull them and then you can just I don't know, destroy the zerg or whatever. But it turned out, at least from my understanding, to be the exact opposite, right? Like it's like the ultimate zerging machine, right? Like you just spawn lock people with it and then you capture base and go to the next one, right?
I mean, they can do both. It's a little bit like, like maxes, right? You can definitely, like, if you already have a platoon, you can pull your bastion and like fucking get on the crown where there's 100 people and somehow cap it and actually destroy Zerg and destroy a choke point. But it's just not really used for that much. Definitely not anymore now, but then you can kill stuff with it because you need, some kind of coordination and people on the ground to get the support from it. But like every force multiplier in the game, people are just going to use it in overpop, and then it's annoying.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, yeah, you can kill a Zerg by pulling a bastion, but I've seen it more. Like, you have more, I would say, Zergy outfits. So statistically, than let's say the quote unquote higher skilled outfits, and those outfits that are more prevalent are gonna pull it to Zerg, I would say, and then it's complete. Yeah, I mean, you can't really do anything anymore at that point. So the same with the shotguns, right? It's just everyone can use it.
I mean, I think it's kind of funny though, if you think about it. No, like at least like in HOT, we basically sit on a bastion all the time. Though, like we could have one like every week or so, but we almost never pull them. Whereas like famously, a kind of a joke in our community, it's like the Lisa outfit that pulls like a bastion every like every 3 or 4 days or something. Even though they're like super irrelevant, right? So you basically get thrown like a bastion after you every now and then for free, basically. And it's then funny that these smaller outfits tend to not use them that much, while like more Zerg orientated ones just shout them out all the time and make people on prime time's lives, make lives for people on prime time like much more miserable.
Yeah, because they're just not fun to play, just like shotguns.
Exactly.
You actually just click on the map, and that's the whole gameplay.
But what do you think about the changes they had now? No, they're gonna make it more like a logistics hub. What's your take on that?
It's definitely a plus for like the individual experience, because you can't get fucking destroyed by mortar cannons anymore. So it's it's quality of life up. It's like even more boring to drive now, so we only have the tactical specialists in there trying to influence the map.
Yeah, but I think that's not a bad thing, though.
Sure, it's hard to quantify how they're gonna do, if they're gonna be able to influence fights as much as it seems like. I mean, it looks like they can do a lot, but also it's definitely not more than just killing everyone.
Yeah, that's
but the thing is though, right? So it can't be used to just bombard a base or like deny a whole area of having fun, basically. But this whole timer thing where you can accelerate a base timer,
that's huge.
Isn't that like that basically plays into the hands of Zergs? Like now you can, so let's say you have a base that takes 4 minutes to cap. Like, what are they gonna do with that? Is it 2 minutes or 3? Or like, if it's 2 minutes, then you do a whole lane in like 20 minutes. Like,
the way it works is that it adds another point. Like, it artificially adds a point, capture point on the base for you.
Okay.
But that's even
I don't think it always doubles.
I think that's
Mm.
even bigger than just making the timer quicker, because like let's say you have two power or like two, like Crossroads Watchtower, so you have 2 points. Like every triple pointer tower base that has one like one point inside the tower will be less effective at holding back zergs, right? Because it's like just enough time so people can spawn in and defend the SCU and maybe get out again, right? We would have to see how that plays with the new spawn system as well, but there is definitely like a chance that you just get to like conquer a tile so quickly that the spawn system doesn't adjust properly for it, and then people you can't really defend quickly enough, because the average, like, maybe the outfit sees it, but the average player, like, takes like a minute or two longer for him to actually realize, like, oh, I can go here.
Yeah, that's been like a reoccurring problem, right?
Oh.
That it's so easy to cap bases that you can't turn them into 50-50 fights anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, but so to get back to it now, we kind of talked about this in a little bit, in regards to when you have ops, what impacts them, and one thing you said that impacts them negatively, and we kind of have a negative connotation to our zergs, right? And I feel like a zerg is kind of it's like it's not a pretty thing, but it's an organic ops, basically, like it's like a organic it's part of like a Planetside fundamental. No, I'm always kind of torn, because some people will give you a take that like, yeah, I hate zergs, they ruined the experience, right? They kind of dumb down the map gameplay or something, right? And it's also not fun to fight a zerg like individually in like a it depends on how big it is, right? But like nobody wants to spawn into like a 80% overpop spawn lock, right? And it's like, okay, cool. What's your take on zergs?
I mean, zergs exist. They're just an organic result of how the game works, and you gotta the game has to work in a way. I mean, for me personally, how do I describe that? Are you do you wanna specify that in what aspect? I wanna think about zergs.
Yeah, I guess I kind of had this idea. I wasn't sure whether or not I should include it in the Fixing Planetside series. And it's kind of like the vehicle episode where me and Thel don't really know what we're talking about, and with the outfit stuff, it's kind of hard, because of course you have a tactical understanding about the game, right? And for me, it might just not be enough that I actually know what I'm talking about, and so that's why I kind of wanted to drag you in here. So one of the ways that I look at zergs, and call me out if that's a very cooked take, but is that I obviously they're an organic, like, recurring thing, and they are sometimes looked as a problem, where I feel like it's not, like, that's the wrong way to look at them. I would much rather enjoy it if like Daybreak Games would pick it up as a game mechanic. And so what I had in mind was that as Zerg forms organically, like a certain pop pop ratio forms with, like, 100 players or so, and they travel down a lane, and then on the map there's like a banner or something that announces them, that there is a Zerg happening here, and the Zerg gets like bonuses to, like, their respawns, etc., so they can attack better, and the territories around the Zerg from the other faction, they also get bonuses to make them more defendable, right? And so and one of my solutions, or not solutions, one of the systems that I thought about interacting with it would be like squad leaders, right? And so that is that maybe squads can earn themselves through gameplay, like maybe shared experience gained or something. Passive buffs, like ammo regeneration or so. To make point holds easier without engineers or something like that. No, you would have to go into what these buffs could be, but that was kind of what I was thinking about. That you make Zergs a gameplay mechanic, and then you balance it via squad play, basically. I thought that would be cool because zergs are very unorganized, and it feels like it would be a good gameplay mechanic to make it so that, the unorganized nature of the zerg is its weakness, right? That a coordinated squad can break it up. But I don't know how delusional that is, because that sounds like something you would hear from like a really cooked Reddit RTS player, no? And so I don't know if that's actually how it could work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Well, for one, I would not base any game mechanic like on people organizing themselves. That's really risky, because what if they don't? Then shit just, nothing works properly. And I don't know, it sounds kind of like too complicated for no reason.
Yeah.
What you just talked about.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess maybe not the squad stuff, but making zergs like how you have like world events in Guild Wars or something. Like just apply some bonuses to fighting the zerg, so people are like encouraged to go there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because
If you keep it simple enough, but the thing is, the one problem is that fighting zergs is just not fun most of the time. Because obviously when you have to deal with more people, there's a lot more shit that just kills you. It's a Planetside thing.
Yeah,
then there's so much stuff that's happening. Some of it is just bound to kill you. But like, there's ways to make it not as terrible. Like map design.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, but there's like, I feel like that's a whole nother box now. Like a lot of maps are so open. There's so many angles. Like and Osho in particular suffers from it. No, like that it just becomes so frustrating to play that people like generally don't play, and then people get like a free attack on it, right? Like there's some bases you just don't bother defending if you're having like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like. But I also feel like that might not be a bad thing either. Like I don't know, it's hard to balance, right? You want to have like the lattice moving, right? Like that's one thing that zergs do good, is that they get the map state to move, right? And so you fight at different bases, but that then automatically means that there has to be some bases they can capture easier. But at what point is easy so easy that you don't want to defend it, right? So that balances off for sure.
I don't know. I don't think you need zergs to move the map. Like zergs should. Okay, so I mean, zergs can cap some bases, but you still want to have the bases be at least for the defenders, even if they're on just like 30 or something %, still like playable, right? If it's like 10%, okay, then you can't leave the spawn room. That's how it works. Whatever. But if you're getting to like the 30-40 area, then it should at least be playable.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you hear people like Character and Thel continuously jerking themselves off over the old Snowshear Watchtower. No, that's basically what it used to be. No, like a base that you can hold long enough to even out the Zerg, right? That is like how these defensible bases should be designed, right? But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there just needs to be a point that's easily accessible for the defenders, so they can at least delay the capture timer, so potentially people can go and defend that base. Only to extend the cap timer.
But although that now gets circumvented by the bastion, no? So it might actually, now that I think about it, the bastion changes, like they kind of honeypot you. You're like, now I don't get killed by invisible SFX explosions in the spawn room, right? But now you just can't defend those bases anymore, right? Like old Snowshear Watchtower, you had your 1 point, and then the bastion goes over, and it gets to capture it, right?
I don't think the bastion point acceleration thing is going to be as big of a deal as you're thinking.
I hope it won't be.
I don't know,
because the bastion is slow as hell on the map, right? And I don't know if the bastion is just going to be like above a zerg all the time.
Well, it could be that the bastion just makes the zerg happen, right? Because it becomes like a faction spawn point.
And people will go to the
I-
bastion anyway,
yeah.
right? And
Bastion.
if the bastion decides to go over a lane, people will be there automatically.
I
I think.
don't see why they would go to the bastion.
No?
I mean,
Okay.
you need to look at it in two different ways, right? Because if you're like good at fight selection, if you say, us kind of veteran booger eaters are, no, we would say that, yeah, I would never spawn at a bastion. That just sounds like, less XP per minute. Like, why would I do that? But your average Joe is gonna be like, wow, crazy big fight, the big ship bastion. Then they're gonna spawn there, right? So I don't know if that's like an applicable mindset. I think it's really like a 50-50 coin flip whether or not people will be, whether it's going to be like a Zerg creator or just going to be irrelevant.
Yeah, I don't think the bastion is gonna like change the people spawning into big zergs kind of deal. It's, it like already happens, right? Actually,
Yeah,
I don't.
guess so.
So
Yeah.
I don't think people spawn into the zerg fights that much. I think it's instant action being terrible, accelerating, because you know the situations when you're in you're defending in like a 60-40 with 40% and the enemy pop still keeps going up. Even though there's like already 100 dudes on the base fighting you, and there's like no reason there should be any more. And it's just instant action dropping in clueless people.
I guess that's true, yeah. Oh man, instant action used to give you like okay to good fights. Right, and now it's like it's complete ass. But we'll see how the spawn system redoes it. No. It's always kind of hard, especially those systems, to really gauge what their impact will be, right? If I actually get to have like a decent fight every time I press, or like an okay-ish fight every time I press combat deploy, then then so be it. That'd be great. But I don't know if that's how it's gonna play out. Even now in the current state of the game, it could still be that because people die quicker, that there's less flow in the map, that it's just like either you push from the sandy to the spawn room or from the spawn room back to the sandy, and the in between is like not really happening that much. No, and so it could be that even with the new spawn system, it's just gonna be more like Bengabas, destroying sandys like all across the map now, and not just
I mean, we played the spawn system they talked about already in the when Osho came out. That was the spawn system that they are implementing. I mean, the spawn system that they're implementing was already in the game.
Yeah, of course.
And it was during Osho. Yeah, and it was an even more terrible time than the current one.
Wait, is it not? Wait, what are they bringing back? I thought they're gonna bring back the old like spawn priority system.
No, not that old. It's the one where you only get to spawn at bases that are pretty close.
Oh man. No.
Do you not know that?
Honestly, man.
I read it, and look, I just saw like they're gonna bring back the spawn priority system. I'm like, oh yeah, dude, the game was actually great back then.
And no, it's not that far back. It's the one that
too bad.
It's the one that made everything lag and was even worse.
Oh,
the thing is,
that is actually blackpilling me right now. Holy shit!
But the thing with all these new things is like, why are they? I mean, I guess they are trying to improve, right? But why is it every time they try to improve something, there's something that is not really like, oh well, this could also turn out like this. Oh, this has been tried in the past and it's not so nice. Like, why are they doing that? Why not?
I mean, the worst.
I don't understand it, man. I can't get my head behind it, man. Like it's.
I mean, the worst part about it is that it's like it sounds like a good sell, right? Because the current spawn system's so ass that like any change to it would be cool, but it could still be bad, I guess.
But you already have another system in place, so why can't you just pick the better one, right?
No, but like, they do, right? You mean like the spawn system from way back?
Potentially new system.
Yeah.
Right. So now it's super mega bad. and the other one is super bad, and the other one is like.
I don't think that's like a file they have saved, right? I think the old system just kind of got iterated over and then got lost.
Oh,
Man. Yeah, I guess that's true. That's probably how it went. But yeah, I mean that's kind of disturbing then, because then really if it's linked to what is closest, right? Then you still get probably still pretty bad fights. Not gonna lie, but we'll see. Maybe
I oversimplified it a little bit. But
yeah, but I think I know which one you're talking about. Right, so that's. I mean, I don't know, dude. We'll have to see how it pans out. The spawn system, I'm the second most curious about. Right, the first, like the one thing I'm more curious about is the shotgun changes, no, and whether or not they will keep them or whether they're gonna touch semi-autos or how they're gonna look at it. But I feel like they just alibi nerfed shotguns and then they're gonna just leave it for like another half a year or something. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out, because I think it might just be functionally not that different, right? Because you die so quickly at the moment anyway.
I mean, it's they're back to the same spot where they were when everyone was running Nanoweave, right?
Yeah,
that's essentially their strength.
They reintroduced Nanoweave with like a numerical, sleight of hand, basically, right? They made the damage fall off higher, and they also like reduced pallet size, and so
pretty much.
Yeah, you now need to get a few headshots in, basically, and so you need to like be closer. So that's I guess we're gonna see how that pans out. But at least there was like reasonable community feedback being listened to, no? And, you could
like pressure.
Yeah, you could like not ignore it, no? If even Zealous, comes to the same conclusion that we do, then like you came to you
made the wrong choices, man.
Yeah, no, like character said last time, no, you have like traveled continents in the wrong direction, right? And so yeah, we'll see how it plays out. But you were kind of a Newton enjoyer, no? What do you think about its current changes?
I was on like Newton copium, because honestly I was not really enjoying the infantry part anymore, and like the Newton made it fun, definitely, by just being so overpowered.
Yeah, right. Like the whole idea was you play like a different game when you equip the Newton, right? Like
almost, yeah.
So your heart's kind of bleeding now. You're like
encouraged. No. I mean, the Newton is obviously broken, and I acknowledge that, and I wouldn't want like. I said that when I played it, like that I'm gonna get tired of it in like a few weeks, because it's kind of like shotguns, where it's just not the actual fun automatic gun gameplay that Planetside has, and that's like the most fun part of the game to me.
Yeah.
And when it kind of gets dumbed down, because you're not ADSing, and two, your hitbox is so massive, then it's just less rewarding, and at some point less fun, no matter how many kills you're getting. But I don't like the Newton change, because it's very lame, and it's gonna turn the gun into a very just mediocre, nobody cares about you anymore gun.
So like all NSO weapons.
Pretty much, it's just gonna be there's like only one good NSO gun left, and it's the CBX-75. Everything else is just.
Oh, and their semi-auto rifles, they're pretty good.
Yeah, the scout rifles are somewhat interesting too. But yeah, I would have liked. I mean, it's obviously a more complicated solution, and I guess like Rel just kind of didn't want to bother with it and just said, "All right, I'll take off the hitbox mod, and then it's just a normal gun."
Yeah,
I would have liked to see. What was it?
Yeah,
it's hitbox. That's what it is.
It is. We had a very autistic talk about it in Hot Discord, no, where we compared like the relative hitbox size increase you get from bigger bullets. No, it's basically hitboxing. It is. It's death sanctioned hitboxing. But it's I had like a kind of like a special relationship with the Newton in a way, no, because like we talked about this last episode with character as well, that the Newton is like a very perverse version of skill compression, where so normally you would say that you give these tools to like, you know, bad or new players so they can keep up with the veterans. But the Newton is like an Oraxium weapon, so it's not like a new player's just gonna get it.
Go brrr.
Yeah, it's like
It's-
a skill compression weapon for the intermediate player, no? And so it makes it like even more perverse. And then, of course, you know, like the way it plays out is like horrendous. It's really amazing that it took this long for people to catch on. No, I remember it was like a YouTuber who made a video like, please don't nerf the Newton, you know, and it's like you know the
Zealous?
video, right? No, it wasn't Zealous, no.
I've seen the like title, but I haven't ever actually watched it.
It's actually it's
And-
dangerous for your, you know, central processing unit, dude. Like you watch it and my
Yeah.
brain lost like neurons actively. It's like drinking alcohol or something. Not good. But it's how would you have wanted the Newton to turn out though?
So we just discussed this a little bit in my podcast, and I think what we landed on in the end was to not give it the good hip fire when it's in when you're flying as LA, right? The carbine thing where you keep your hit fire. So you had an actual like big cone of fire that you couldn't use while just zooming around.
But when you're like so basically the Newton would still be pretty strong for the medic then, or we could just.
Well, I'm not done yet.
Oh, my bad.
You kind of jumped in there. I was also thinking like a rate of fire nerf, like a small one, like I don't know, 20, 30 RPM. I guess that was it. I can't quite remember everything anymore. But I mean, those two would help just make it not be extremely annoying. And remove the attachments, right?
Yeah, the
Because
fact that
that's what kind of pushed it over the edge.
Exactly, yeah, like short barrel laser. No, you can run that on it. That's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. I also had this, like, I think the way they nerfed it shows really well that they have a big problem striking balance between, like, when is a weapon unique and fun, and maybe even a good weapon, to when is it overpowered, right? This is something they never like fully understood, right? Like the Beetlejuice, for example, is the perfect. It's like on the other end of the spectrum. It's like not OP. It just has a lot of utility, so it's nice to use and has like a interesting, like an actually interesting faction bonus. Whereas the Newton is like this bland abomination that's just straight up better, right? Like its faction bonuses, you get to shit on everybody that doesn't have a Newton.
I mean, what I especially don't understand, right? Because you said it seems like the devs don't understand the whole OP or fun or unique, etc. with weapons. They've done the cannons before. They've nerfed that, but then they gave us the Newton. Like, did they not learn anything? I don't. It's just why, man. Like, you've already kind of addressed the problem with what is the ammo type called again?
Unstable ammo.
bullets.
Unstable.
Yeah. So they already changed that because they saw it was OP or people told them, but then they make the Newton. How does that work?
I guess they
told you that they don't know, right?
I guess the concept of like, because here's the thing. I feel like Planetside has like 3 weapon gimmicks. You know, it has like big bullets, bullet penetration, and charge ups, and that's all I got apparently to keep guns interesting. So I don't know. I feel like they were like, okay, this is like an Oraxium gun, and we need something to make it cool. What do we got on the list? Bullet penetration. Now we're already doing that for like all the new tank cannons and like on NC, so we can't do that.
Yeah.
Charge up is on like
Check.
NSO guns already.
Right? There's something else, you mean?
No, the Kuba and the Yumi, right? That kind of charge up. The really annoying one that shouldn't be in FPS games ever.
Yeah, exactly. That one is like not a interesting cool mechanic. That's like I put my penis in acid bath. No, like
That's the problem. None of them are actually interesting cool mechanics. Like
I mean,
bullet penetration doesn't matter in Planetside. Have you ever felt bullet penetration on
Yeah,
anything?
I did actually when I used the what is it, the DMR called, the Doku DMR for
The DokP.
yeah,
I don't know, but I know which one you mean.
it's the new it's the only new conglomerate semi-auto sniper rifle that doesn't look like shit. It's the big brown thing. Yeah, everybody knows.
Yeah,
what
okay, Schmiddy. It's a Planetside podcast still, huh?
and
Jesus.
the big veiny huge.
Mm.
Anyway, no, that you can feel it on that if you play it close quarters.
You
It goes for
can
it.
feel it, yeah.
Yeah, like the penetration.
All right.
Let's keep talking.
Yeah, but I feel like it's one of those things that you can only put on like a select amount of weapons. Funnily enough, the railjack doesn't have it for whatever reason. That's something.
It does now, right? I'm pretty sure they
does?
added it. Yeah,
Nah,
I'm pretty sure
that's-
we talked about this, and you were like, "Well, the railjack kind of needs penetration. That would be cool." And then they added it like a week later.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that blows my mind just now. I never knew. Yeah, I guess that's how
Yeah, but because
irrelevant
no
it
one
is.
plays
Yeah,
it anymore.
no. I did play it after. I
Oh, really?
I did play it, and I'm like,
Damn.
oh, I wish it had penetration. I guess they added it then. but it's kind of it's complete ass to play because it also has another special feature, which is the charge up. That's so cool to play on a sniper rifle. I love it. And that was so cool that they added it for the slicer again. But
Charge up is just a terrible mechanic.
it really is. But how would you like what if you could choose a few like flavor mechanics that aren't completely what do you think of batteries? Batteries are cool, right?
Do you mean the infinite armor stuff?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean that's fine. That's a decent mechanic.
What else
hate
would
that.
you add?
That's a good question actually. I never really thought about that. At least, like for more than 10 seconds.
Or 15 counting.
Shit. I don't know. I don't have anything off the top of my head for you right now.
So I feel like the right, because they did add the kneecap ammo, no, which is kind of like a
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's like
Ah.
a complete
It's also like an anti-aiming mechanic.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like I feel like one thing that they could add right for the TR is a special magazine that makes it so you never have to reload. It's like a belt feeder.
Yeah, they already thought about this for the butcher, I think. but
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe
they
for
did.
like smaller mag size guns,
Yeah.
right? Then it wouldn't be as OP.
It would like increase recoil or something like that. So you would have to control it more, but you had
Yeah.
more. Yeah, why not? No.
You already have the recoil change thing with I think Firestorm, right? That gives you more recoil.
Ah, yeah. You also have
So-
it with the short
And you can
barrel
do it.
node where it increases recoil
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Although I feel like people would have a mental breakdown again because I don't know, infinite ammo is like a thing that people get offended by for whatever reason.
Yeah, because they can't use it and good players can. So
I mean, it's I guess you lose the reload. Like there's kind of like a skill expression in when to reload, right? Like especially with high
Yeah.
capacity guns.
you could say if you put a belt fed thingy, like you could also just reduce the fire rate a little bit so it's not as
It's like the ultimate
you know?
uptime thing, no? That you can
Yeah.
keep blasting,
Yeah,
but you
not
lose.
as hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
So
that
it's like kind
works.
of balanced.
Yeah.
But don't make an Orion like 650, okay, they break. Like
True.
make it balanced, but that's kind of a hard thing for our devs here.
I mean,
So,
I guess that could be like an interesting gun gimmick, or you could make it so. No, I actually don't know. It's a tough one, right? Because I mean, TR and VS, you can kind of give like a utility bonus, right? But what the fuck do you add to the NC, right? Because they're like, yeah, we are like slow firing, heavy hitting, right? like I don't know if I want to have an infinite ammo Gauss saw. Right,
It's
like
it's already pretty good in that respect.
yeah, it doesn't really need anything, no.
But hey, another thing for TR, right? It just came, just thought of this. Now TR gets affected the most by the bad FPS, right, and the fire rate reduction.
Yeah.
Now, why don't you give the TR like a plus, 50% bonus in FPS?
Yeah, true. That could be
Maybe
their
do some
faction bonus.
optimization.
Yeah, although they are doing this, no, they did add like a few. I guess we have to see what the actual frame rate impact is, but maybe it's going in the right direction. Who knows?
Yeah, but look, always it's. I mean, we're going off topic a bit, but it's always this thing with Planetside that they say, "Oh, next update we're gonna do performance." Then they do it. It feels a bit better, or maybe not. I don't know. Like sometimes for me, it doesn't really do much in my experience, but sometimes it does. And like a couple months later, they introduce like, "Ooh, nice looking explosions and this and that," and then it goes down again.
I mean, as long as the explosions actually render, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like one issue right now that a lot of explosions, I like the flail explosion, for example, doesn't render in, and sometimes you just randomly die from like
Yeah.
thin air, right?
I
But the
want
flail,
any smoke removal again.
yeah. but the flail is actually a good segue we can use, no? Because the flail is kind of, like you use a resource to then like translate into like a, killing on the battlefield. And one thing that I always kind of was perplexed by is like outfit resources, and also the like stuff like orbital strikes and whatnot. That is like a big thing for me, because I feel like an orbital strike fundamentally is like very bad game design. No, you have like some dude clicks the map, and then you don't get to play for like 10 to 15 seconds, and maybe you die, maybe you don't. And he did like, depending on the outfit, probably nothing to earn the orbital strike. No, goes back to like the unknown username thing, where he's like, what did you do to earn those nanites? Well, nothing. You just like passively generate them, and then you get to remove people from the map for a while. Right. What's your take on stuff like that, Doc?
It's it's in the game. I mean, orbital strikes are there, and they don't really need to be the outfit ones, I guess. But I can understand why they put it in for, the epic gamer moments. And
Yeah,
I think
guess that's true.
I think you don't need to earn every every cool thing that you do.
Damn.
I think you get nanites by just existing.
Yeah,
So
but, I mean, isn't your opinion kind of biased because you got a signed Rogue Planet Games T-shirt, Doc? Rel?
sure, all my opinions are biased.
Okay, then we got that cleared out, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, but don't you have this? I always wondered, because I mean, of course, maybe not all cool things have to be earned. I'm kind of with you on that in a way, right? But I feel that if the game had like more secondary objectives, or more things for you to like actually tactically apply, like for example, we talked about this a while back in a potential infiltrator rework, so that the infiltrators get to hack, and like they don't have a motion spotter anymore, and their ability doesn't turn them invisible. It just removes you and your squad members around you in like a radius from the minimap, and makes it so even if you shoot, you don't show up. Right? It's like a what is it called? Sensor shield with silencer, but as an ability. And you have on the on the map like a few antennas that you can hack to get like a motion dart, basically. Right? And of course, this will never get implemented, because it takes like it would require too much work. But fundamentally, no, I feel like if you had a lot of secondary objectives that then give you access to, like, maybe not an orbital strike, or maybe actually, why not? Like you get to capture like a certain base, and then the outfitters captures it, gets access to to the to an orbital strike, something like that. No, I feel like that would be like much better. Then it's also not a choice. Then you can make like a conscious choice as a squad leader, to go and capture the space for that reason, and not just like to move the letters or to go there or to just get XP or something.
How would you quantify who gets the orbital strike
It's a
when
good
they're doing
question.
when they're doing the objective?
I mean, if you want to go for the easiest way, you could make it so that the person, the outfit that gets the base capture gets it.
Yeah, but that will result in like Zergfits getting all the orbitals, right? Because if they have 20 people or more there,
I don't
they
know.
all
You
earn a
can
little
capture.
bit. Then
You can
so-
capture a base with 3 people that are dedicated.
yeah, okay, but then it should be like I don't know which season it was, but it was like this. I think you got points for the outfit was bracket, right, or the standings
yeah.
who you fought, and it was like the top 10 players in each outfit got points, and then you actually had to do enough.
Yeah.
I think that would be a healthier system than just throwing everyone in, right? In that point getting leaderboard or whatever for the orbital strike. But then also the like the Zergfits are gonna cry like, oh, it's catered to elites, like the professional players, quote unquote. So yeah.
I mean,
I like the thought of do an objective, get a specific tool for doing it.
yeah, I think so as
For
well.
sure.
Like, right, and
For
even the sensor antenna is cool. No, if you think about it, you have like a whole second objective to get free wall hacks basically. And then the infiltrator can still use his ability to make a flank happen. With his boys. Right, this is like the idea that I thought was cool, but it's like, I was about to say they will probably never implement it, but they just gonna implement like capture the flag, and that seems like a completely new mechanic as well. And so, I guess technically they could make it, a conscious move towards that, right? That there's actually secondary objectives you can capture, but it's hard to specify. Now that I think about it, it's really hard to because okay, sure, the orbital strike is like a big one, right? But maybe you can capture like a facility to get kind of like mini continent bonuses for your squad, right? Like if you capture like a few bases, you get to pull vehicles quicker, or your nanites regen quicker, or you get passive health regeneration if you capture biolab, stuff like that.
I mean, it's kind of a thing already, right? You get for when you're in possession of a biolab, you get passive health generation. Do you actually still get that? Wait, I remember
mean,
it definitely was a thing.
Yeah, it
was.
was.
M stations gave you the fucking turret cooldown thing,
which completely
tech
useless.
plans.
No, I don't even like.
Definitely that's useless.
They should make it so that M stations regenerate ammo for you, like 1 pack per minute or something like that.
I mean, they got rid of. If I actually remember, I think they did get rid of those like continent bonuses, right?
The continent ones, not, but the
No, like continent-wide bonuses for owning a big facility.
Oh yeah.
That we just talked about.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think so as well. I remember the biolab one in particular, but I don't think it's there anymore. I think whenever it happens, it's probably like the Hassan bonus. No, is that Hassan?
I mean, it's what's the thing's called? The you can place them with your outfit resources.
Yes.
If you mean the health region thing.
Yeah, that's
modules. The modules.
Modules, exactly. Yeah. It would be great if that was an interactive part of the game, like it's through secondary objectives, right? And not just like a point and click and whatever, find forget. It's like it suffers the same problem that like the Bastion has, and also like squad gameplay. Like you click the map, okay, cool. I would like it if like squad leaders or fireteam leaders have like small little passive bonuses, like quicker shield regeneration or so around them, so you can actually, like push and
I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't need to be like pure tankiness, but just Like,
But then you get like a big advantage for playing in a squad, and if you're solo, you just like, oh,
No.
I would not give people like any kind of mechanical benefit for just existing as something.
I mean, they have
That
the
sounds abusable and like
they have the organic squad formation sooner. They're gonna add squads being able to like just manifest. Know that if you're in a hex, you get to
yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
But I mean, you're like, or like the health region around Scott did this thing. Is what I meant.
it's like a walking medic then without doing anything.
No, it would be like shields, I guess, or something like this. You would have to specify. I would say health is maybe it's powerful, but just getting like everybody like a small version of ASC or something, you know,
Yeah,
why
but
not?
because it's gonna be abusable when you just get a benefit for being something and not actually like, you just like everyone's just gonna be a squad leader.
No, it
Or
would be
try to
like,
be, right?
or you can limit it by making it so that it's not the squad leader who gets it, but it's the people around the squad leader get it. And then then you're encouraged to like group up and play together, and you can push together and do stuff together. Like you'll get bonuses for doing that, and it's not just like you just dump pop on the base and do whatever. You have to like lead from the front line,
But but isn't this the in my opinion, I think they should work on the fundamentals, right? And team play in itself is like a basic thing to a game where you play together and try to cap a point or defend. So shouldn't that be the priority instead of having like a static buff to something, or like instead of 7 seconds it takes 5 seconds for your shields to regen and stuff like this?
I mean, I guess, but you have the like. I mean, obviously, right? Obviously, if the core game mechanics work out just fine, you don't have to actually, add stuff like this. But as it stands right now, for example, if you wanna like make like a dedicated flank with a squad or something, right? That's almost impossible because every like battle rank 2 can put down a motion spotter as an infiltrator, and then that's like your flank, ruined.
I
Basically.
disagree.
You
I
think so?
disagree.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, you don't see many people do coordinated flanks like that.
Yeah, but
because it's hard to do. But when you pull it off, it's not that many people look at the map. That also just gonna be immediately ruined, especially when you're like flanking something with 12 guys. Maybe like 3 or 4 enemies turn around and you can still like kill them, and you can.
I mean,
You
12
can
guys,
definitely
12
do
guys for
stuff.
sure. But what about 6, right? What about 6 guys in like a 40 to like like a 48 or 60 player fight? What about 6 guys there and they flank? And I mean, you already have a problem with all the force multipliers around, etc. And then everybody who looks at the map will see the map, will see the flank, no? And usually it's better players looking at the map. And then there's also spitfires and etc. So it's really not as easy, I think. Like you have such a core game mechanic, like flanking, is like locked behind having the right implants in Planetside.
I don't know if you think you can make a game-changing impact on a base that like changes everything in a 48-96 fight with 6 people. You're a little delusional. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but it would be cool if it.
You can still get a bunch of
right?
kills with the flanks.
Of course.
That's no question. But you're not gonna get more than that with 6 people.
I don't know. You can like yeet like a big EMP nade into the front line and then blast like a side, and then people can push the door. Like it can happen for sure.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I wouldn't depend on it. I could do that. Like I can make game-changing flanks on my own as well in bases.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah. I mean,
so what's your point?
I mean, the point. No, it goes back to the like motion spotter stuff, right? Because I feel like a lot of ways you could play the game are impeded by its very design. And so, like, when we are talking about, adding like static buffs to squad leaders or fire team leaders, and then Thel said that it's more about like the core game mechanics that need to be changed first before you even can think about that. And so I do kind of agree with that. I just don't think that how do you put this? Like, for example, right, the motion spotter problem, right? That everybody can just put them down all the time, right? And you're visible all the time, right? It's like one of those core mechanics where I would say, it would help greatly if you could, alleviate that through a gameplay mechanic, right? Like, for example, giving infiltrators the ability to hide people instead of cloak themselves, right?
Sure. I mean, I don't. Yeah, the thing is, I would rather that what people do is motivated by if it's fun to do and not by outside game benefits you give them for it. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but it depends in a way, because it's like, for example, like capturing a point or so, right? Like, what is it that most veterans or so play the game for? It's not to capture objectives or do points or whatnot. No, it's to like just farm people, right? Like that.
Yeah,
like,
because that's fun gameplay, and they're just doing it because it's fun.
Yeah, but you can like intertwine those steps. No, you can make it so
Yeah,
that
you should.
yeah, but it's like one of the ways you could do that is by including like benefits for players to play the game, right? Like if you play the game, you do get to like get benefits, like getting them through secondary objectives or getting them by playing together, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's kind of a band-aid that's never really gonna do as much as you would want. Like you might motivate some people with like those extra, like an extra, I don't know, magazine per minute. But it's not gonna convince that many people,
I guess that's
if
true.
it's like intrinsically, I don't know if that's the right way to word that, but if it's like motivated just due to it being fun,
And
then
another thing,
you're more or less guaranteed to get them.
Mm.
yeah, another thing apart from the how many people it's going to influence to change their play style is every time they like if you create a band-aid solution, there comes a point where you have to deal with it again. So they create more work for themselves, but they can also just wait a little and either do nothing or take more time to fix stuff. And I like the same with the. I mean, it's not a band-aid solution, right? Completely, it's different. The Newton, but it's like doing the same thing again and then having to fix it later down the line.
Oh yeah, removing big bullets from the Newton is definitely a bad solution.
Yeah, that's
It's
like
like
but I mean, they
the
have
easiest change
I
you can
know.
make.
I know, but they have to address it again, right? So also with these band-aid solutions, it creates other problems, and so maybe it's good in one aspect where they quote unquote fix the problem, but it creates other ones, and then
Well-
you have to put dev time into like fixing that thing you tried to fix earlier.
I mean that's
Yes, the trick they don't put that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's like
Okay.
that.
it's
Oh,
just
well,
gonna be
never mind then.
it's just gonna be like the daimyo where they fix it, by making it complete shit, and then they're just not gonna touch it anymore again. And so that's probably what's gonna happen to the Newton. They're gonna make it irrelevant, and then they're just not gonna touch it. But of course it would be a band-aid solution. But how would you make stuff like a point capture or fighting a zerg more fun then? No, the only solutions I can come up with, and why I didn't present them really in the Fixing Planetside series is that they can only be band-aid solutions, right? Like because
Map design.
what?
Map design. I think map design and like level design basis is the biggest factor for all of those things.
what do you think about this is something that's kind of been on my mind for a while. Player-made base designs, and I don't mean like a private server, but maybe you get a few bases, like you give people map creation tools, and then you get a few bases and change them. Let them be changed by the community, and then people can vote on which ones they like more, and then it's in it for like like a rotation, like for like 3 months or so. Would that
that might work. We don't know because no one was even ever able to design a base.
Because
So
yeah,
who knows? I would personally love to try my hand at designing a base, and I'm sure a bunch of other people would too.
yeah.
But it's like it's impossible to know if that's gonna work out, and if people know how to deal with, because there's a lot more to base design than just like people specifically playing on it, and there's there being cover and stuff like that. There's tons of outside factors that
like of course it has to fit in the grand picture, right? Like they can't just completely redesign the ground or anything, but they could place buildings and assets, etc. No, like I always felt like when construction was first announced and we didn't know what it was gonna look like yet, people were kind of speculating or hoping that it might turn out that way, that you can actually design bases that people fight in, right? And now they're
Wow.
just
the devs probably thought that too, but not how
until they made them big no-go zones for everything that has 2 legs, dude.
Yeah. No, I mean we don't know because nobody was ever able to, or nobody has access to the tools. We had like one dude made like some weird kind of like infantry scrim base on the test server or something, but it was very specifically just for gameplay, and it was visually not an actual base.
I mean, this would be
But
something.
he had specific tools.
I mean, releasing map creation tools would be something that is like I would say that outsources a lot of the problem, right? Like people, I'm pretty sure you'll find enough people who are excited to make a change, right? To actually put themselves in the shoes of like making a good base, to the point where, right? And you can also create community engagement with it, right? Because people should like vote and what they like more. Can make like a game, like a UI for it in the game, so that like you play it and it's like, yeah, I like this base or something, and then it stays for the next cycle if people like it. That way you can optimize the map and you give it completely out of your hands, right? That would be like a pretty easy solution to a lot of these issues, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's very risky. I don't think that's ever gonna happen because there's like a 90% chance the map turns out like shit, and like a 50% chance the community doesn't even notice it and votes a shitty map in the game.
Yeah, but you don't have to implement everything the community does, right? Like you can just give them the tools, because I'm sure that a lot of people would find it very nice to work on that, because I mean we have so many community made events and people put time in that, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that can do that, and then it doesn't have to be implemented. So, but the thing is, Daybreak.
But what do you mean it doesn't have to be implemented? Because I mean, then why would people do it?
Okay, that's true, because maybe the possibility of having your map put in the game is a nice thing.
I mean, the thing is, if it doesn't get put in the actual game, then it's not gonna be usable, because you don't have like community servers for Planetside or anything. So like there's not. First of all, that it'd be a lot of work to even get the tools that they have for map creation to public, readiness, usableness for people that aren't like trained on it.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I think you can legit make it so that, I mean, it depends on what kind of tools they use to make maps right now. But if they design them hex by hex, right? If it's like a chunk, basically, that they then glue together into the map, which I think is how they do it, then you can just take the hex out add a map editor, and that doesn't take crazy long to do. No, like people in, for example, the Skyrim modding community or so, they do that shit. Like the creation tools or something. They whip that up pretty quickly. No, because of course in-house people have to work with similar systems as well. And then essentially what you do is you just take the map editor and you remove a few features like, sculpturing the environment or something. And then you give people the assets they can place, right? And they can maybe place them in the ground or not, or and then you just give them the go for it. And then you can make a cycle where, people can vote on the maps. And then the top 3 maps get cycled every 3 months or something. Right? And then even if one map is shit, they'll be cycled through.
I don't think anyone will want to get maps that are not playtested at all ever from random community member.
Oh, I mean, they
In
have
the
to be
game.
playtested. Obviously, that's
It's not, but it's not possible to playtest them.
What do you mean?
Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, they would have to be put on PTS, I guess. That's the only place. And then you need people to play on it, but you'll never get the numbers for people. You never get like an organic live fight on PTS.
I guess that's true, but at the same time, it's not like any of the other bases they ever implement are playtested, right? Like it's not like they playtested the Esamir, changes, or they playtested Osho, or it's like people gave their feedback, and sure they add a bit of cover here, a bit of things there, but at the end of the day, these things are never really playtested.
I don't know. I don't trust random community people to do. It sounds like pessimistic, but
I mean, you don't have to trust them, right?
Oh,
It's
that's
like,
true.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's fair, right? Like, I don't trust the community either, right? You look at Reddit, you look at like all the cooked takes around, and
Yeah, I
like
know.
including myself, I think I have a lot of cooked takes hidden behind my asylum doors, that I then unleash like once every week on this podcast. But it's like then like those things they wouldn't be. Like, what is the worst thing that can happen is that you have a shit base, and there's plenty of shit bases in the game right now, right? And so at least then you can give them feedback and say no more of this, and then they cycle them out a week later or 2 weeks later, or then you can say like, yeah, that base maybe is better, and then you vote higher for it, and I'm sure you'll have enough people to give feedback. Like you can just ask them, like exactly how like intrusive like annoying fucking fill out pamphlets to it. No, did you enjoy your last match and in 5 stars or not? It really like it works.
Yeah.
People fill them out, right?
If they already weren't so infrequent and like let's call it lazy about map changes, I would agree with you on that. But there is so few map changes already that I don't know. I feel like.
I mean, they could have their cake and eat it too. They could be lazy about it. The community does the work for free. They just need to provide the infrastructure to, make it like modular so they can switch it out and all of that shit. Right? So it's actually, it would be both in their favor. Like it saves them money, time, and effort. And you get to exploit the community for free. And it self-regulates. Like there's no reason not to do it. Right?
Sure. I mean, I'm down for any different maps or areas. Anything. This is why the Osho and estimate changes disappointed me so much. I think new maps, levels, or anything is the biggest thing you can add to the game. And when it's complete garbage, then that's like the worst case to me.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
isn't the possibility isn't the chance too big that they're gonna fuck up another continent, right? Because in my opinion, I would say, yeah, here I go again. Revert Esamir, like it was before. Like, I mean, they should have it laying around somewhere, right?
No, Thel, we're gonna add water to Inda, whether or not you.
There was even water on Esamir, right, before, and then when
It came out with the
everything melted.
campaign.
Yeah, okay, but like, dude, it's just like, dude, just revert Asamir, and then because then then you have the possibility that they're gonna ruin Hossein, and yeah, that's like a nail
Hot
in the
take,
coffin.
I honestly think Hossein's kind of overrated, dude. Right.
I have to
Yeah,
go.
okay, but
You have to go.
No, what? Why? why would Hossa be overrated?
I don't know, dude.
What the
Some
fuck?
people praise it like it's like the second
Yeah.
coming of Christ,
cooked
and
egg
it's
by
it's
Schmiddy.
like
Because it is.
yeah, but it's good. It's good, right? But it's like
What?
it could be so much better. Some bases are kind of whatever. Like construction bases are like okay, I guess, right?
Placeholder Schmiddy, it will be changed in the
Yeah,
future.
yeah. Change trademark for like the last 5 years or something, and so it's that. And honestly, like, I mean, Nascence is cool when you defend it. I mean, Nascence, okay, put it this way. Nascence is the best middle base in the game.
Honestly, I don't even have fun on Nascence anymore.
Exactly.
Me neither. Me neither.
It's
not,
just
yeah.
a hallway
that's
of maxes,
because-
explosives,
Because
etc.
it's played. Yeah, first of all, it's the fucking tunnel bullshit down there, and because it's just overplayed. You know, any base that you play it for like way too long is just gonna not be fun.
I mean, something has drastically changed in this regard because you have, like, the Ascent is even a bigger example of this because nothing has changed in like the last, I don't know, dude, however many years, right? But the Ascent is like significantly worse to play now than it was like 3 years ago. And it's like, I don't know, people just play differently because of, I guess, how the game changed meta-wise or something. I really can't put my finger on why. But whenever there's an Ascent fight, I wanna like pop my Tsiankali tooth and end it right there, you know? I hate
It's just an insane amount of people there, and I think inselection is also a culprit on that. Because like, if you inselection start the continent, it just sends you the middle base. It sends you the Nascence, Tier Alloys, Crown, and Ascent. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
forgot.
it also never stops sending you there, right? So
Yeah,
it's-
exactly.
True, I guess, yeah. But it's still like to get back to, I think Hossein has like the best overall fight quality, but
Yeah.
none like stick out to me. Like, I unironically, some fights on like on Oshore can be like insane amount of farm and fun. No, like some tower bases or the base where there's like 3 raised up plateaus with like houses on top. Do you know which one I mean? It's close to Warp Gate.
Oh, you mean 10 power?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those bases are fucking cool, dude, and you never get.
It's so great you don't even know the name.
Yeah, I don't. I'm bad with
Yeah,
that.
I will
But
never forget Snowshear, dude.
Yeah, dude,
You
you're
liar.
gonna have the snow shear shaft all the way down your throat, dude. Look, look, you have these bases that are legitimate. Yeah, one of the reasons I don't remember the names is because you never get to fight there really, or not a lot, right? And so
It's better since they rotated the warp gates around.
yeah, that's
but
true.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and so it feels to me like they kind of know what they're doing. They have like it's always like this. It's the same with the containment sites. No, they make like a 3-lane basic shooter map, and then they're like, we're gonna add flank routes, and then they develop this idea further into whatever abomination containment sites are now, right? And so they had like the right idea, and somewhere along the line they fucked up, right? And so that is what
Yeah.
makes it so frustrating as well. Like, you look at it and you go like, man, I wish they had just like this one thing that they didn't do, and then yeah, but it's
All these
still-
multiple things.
yeah, they pile up all the time because because the Planetside Band-Aid Ouroboros happens, right? Where there's like one Band-Aid and then they add another Band-Aid and then they add more Band-Aids for that Band-Aid and then, like it comes full circle, right? And so with time, all these problems like gestate into worse. And I think that maybe that's what happened to the Ascent and also to like, Nascence or so. That, they were okay to begin with, and then the Planetside Ouroboros happened and all these Band-Aid solutions piled up to ruin that, right? Like
Here's the thing,
Hmm?
because of the Hossein thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it bothers me. I think Hossein just has like the best foundation for map play wise.
Yeah.
And where all these band-aids like don't really matter that much because on Hassan, the lattice line and all the bases and all the transitioning points from and to the next base work well enough that you get consistent infantry fights.
That's true.
And everything's, you get to consistently play the game and have a decent shooter experiences. Whereas on Hassan, it's like it's so inconsistent up and down. And yeah, you get like a really great farm. On Osho. You might get like a really good farm that one time. Although I still think it's not gonna be better than like, I don't know, like any Root House Distillery fight
Yeah,
or
I guess so.
Fort Drexler fight. But it's like on Osho, all the things that aren't on the bases work even less.
It's like Osho at its best is equivalent, at least for me, in enjoyment to like Hossen at its like medium to best. Right? Like yeah, it's something like that. But it's just that like Osho at its best, it happens in like once in a blue moon, right? Like if the stars align right and somebody sacrificed their firstborn to Satan, they get like one good fight on Osho, right? And that's also like you also have to be online for that, and every sane person logs off when Osho comes on.
Yep.
And I had this, like, but I really feel like, again, like to get back to it, you can exploit the community well enough to do the job for you. I'm very confident about this. Anybody still remembers the Forge program? When they had like player-made armors and shit, and helmets.
Oh yeah. All the cosmetics.
Yeah. One thing that I will never understand why they don't do is that they bring it back and they make it so that as an outfit reward, like for winning, like for making it in the top 3 of outfit wars, you get like a token or so that your outfit can design your own armor. They're given the forge tools, and then you can make whatever you want or you don't, right? And then at the end of outfit wars, you get to purchase that with Daybreak cash in the game. Right? Like, how cool would that be? You have like an actually like a cosmetic that's designed by the community for winning, like the community event, and it's actually something like worth getting. But they just, I don't know, they sleep on all these tools that are just lying around. Like they just don't use them.
I think there's just no manpower for it.
But it exists already, no? Like the forge tool.
You need someone to manage it, and that's why the current like cosmetics and stuff and the stuff for the output logs as well isn't happening because someone needs to like oversee that and everything. And
you can make it like a community or like a internship for position, like a community manager, no? Like no, really, like it doesn't need to be like a like a 60K job a year or something. Like you can have like some poor student in like in Germany or whatever look at it for like once a week.
You?
Yeah, like for like once a week, and he gets like $100 for it. Like, or even why not do it for like Jaeger admins? No, they would do it for free. I'm pretty sure they do all of that what they're doing right now for free. Imagine if you had I don't know.
I don't know. That's probably like liability reasons, and that's probably. I mean, it's a good idea, but like, there's always. I can always imagine like 15 different things that are the reason it's not gonna happen.
I mean, an armor designed by character name would need to go under like serious.
Serious. Gonna hide fucking every kind of shit in there.
Isn't it more efficient to just like you take time out of someone's day, right, or work hours to manage that community aspect or the map building and whatever, that sort of thing? But isn't it way more efficient to do something like this, because then the person who is overseeing that can oversee like multiple people can work at stuff, right? And if you have like the studio working on maps, that's like you only have so many people. So if you get one person to oversee all this stuff, you basically have more people working for you, kind of.
Yeah, you outsource the process for free, right? People do that for free, and then you just say, okay, or yes or no, right? You give them guidelines. You say, obviously it has to apply to the in-game stuff, so no swear words, no derogatories, no swastikas on the forehead or something, of the armor, right? And then you just, you just vet it, right? You say like you get to design it, and if we say it looks cool enough to be in the game, you get to have it, right? And you could do that again and tie it to an outfit specific reward. You can make it so that the 3 teams that won outfit wars don't get like a meaningless banner. I didn't even bother to equip it, honestly, right? To like, yeah, and like I just didn't log in anymore, and I'm like, okay, whatever, It's like I really, what I care more is the experience, right? Like that I had with you guys and the Dior meme video and stuff. Like that shit was like a lot of fun to make and to experience, and to go on Archie and talk shit. But it would be cool to get like a legitimate reward that's from the community, and you could make the guidelines for it. No, like nobody can tell me that hiring Doku to do these armors and stuff is less expensive than just having a community manager that oversees. He could do both. No, he could look at the map changes and see if it's too outlandish or completely stupid, and the same goes with the Doku stuff. And maybe you even have somebody that can actually reply to the community, that can come on podcasts like this, or like, or talk to people in the scene, go on Cyrus or Kamikaze, to talk about, different stuff. You could actually have like a healthy community engagement,
I mean, we're just kind of doing interviews, right?
Yeah, kind of, but very selective, right? Like Deke did the podcast with him, right? And it's also like, yeah, I don't know.
I think he does more interview. I think he's less selective than you think, but not many people are asking him.
I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint, and it's also like, I guess that's true.
I mean, I don't know, right? That's kind of just my guess.
I mean, not talking to the community, or no, put it this way: talking to the community is like a freebie. I think no, like it really doesn't. It's not a lot of effort, and you get a lot of value out of it, right? If done properly, if you can just talk to people normally.
Yeah, let the community work for you. I mean, not a lot of people are passionate enough to do stuff. I'm sure that a lot of longtime players and people that know more about like game design and map design and whatever, they would be happy to work on that and do their part. So just use it. Like it's a free resource, basically. Yeah, you have to put one person to kind of manage it, but if 5 people are interested in that, then it's already a win, in my opinion. I think, at least.
Plus, I've always, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, But do you think, like, I mean, have you ever had the chance to get an interview or talk to him about anything? I know he dropped by in your stream for the Osho feedback, no?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was, well, the funny part, he was around every now and then until I made that video criticizing Osho, and then I've never seen him anymore. But that might be due to, me not streaming late and that kind of stuff, because he's like around at like, midnight or something my time, if he is at all.
Yeah, true. The European/American time frame like just doesn't align often enough, I guess. Yeah, that's reasonable.
I think it's maybe like a little bit of an ego trip, but I think I could get a real interview if I asked.
I think so as well. Like I mean,
the big man, huh?
I mean yeah, it depends. I think honestly, maybe the community doesn't reach out enough. There is like but I mean, we are guilty of this as well in a way, right? Because obviously, we are not too happy with the game design, and it's always hard to separate, right? Especially if it's your life work to work on Planetside, right? How much is like gets at you personally, and how much is actually just that? Because people like to point the finger at Rel, like, oh, Rel is doing this wrong. Like Thel does this a lot as well, no? Like you're just like, no, why do you do this? But or I think even the last episode, no, you said like you were quoting the Bungie developers and said, it has to look. We were talking about containment sites.
It has to be fun before it looks pretty.
Exactly right, and so it's like, and then I said like, but it's it's probably very likely two different departments that do graphical design and the ones that do the map design.
Is it
Right.
though in Planetside?
But we don't know.
Because-
But I would give him the benefit of the doubt at least, right? And I feel like a lot of people, especially in our immediate vicinity, don't give the developer the benefit of the doubt because they do come from like an a-okay place most of the time. No, the initial ideas that they implement are not entirely dumb or like bad, right? It is, I mean, apart from a few like construction, right? You could make a good argument that construction just has no place, right? But I mean, you can see even there, like when Rel put out the proposed construction changes that they did a 180 on, right? They don't come from a completely not understandable place or whatnot. It would be an extremely interesting experience to have a very open and clear talk, like what should this game even like, if I ever had the chance to talk to him, which I probably will never have, but let's just say I do. The one question I would ask him is what he thinks Planetside is and what he thinks Planetside should become, right?
Yeah.
Because
Honestly, same.
yeah, because I don't know, right? It's like I've been playing the game for 10 years and it's in a perpetual identity crisis, right? Is it like and I feel like I would love to hear that from him, right? Because he's the
Okay,
one.
Can I drop a hot take right now?
Of course, that's why you're
The
here.
hot. Yeah. Do you remember from the it was a Deke podcast, yeah, where he said where he talked about population spice and how they, when they have to do quality of life updates, that they have to be careful about needing to add content and stuff so the population goes up again, and population spices where they, have the population trickle down, and they don't want the game to die. And I think they're just on money mode with the game, and they don't have time to think about, can we make the game more fun, or where do we want the game to go? They are only able to say, what do we do so the game doesn't fucking die?
Yes. I think
that's the problem.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. They're kind of like in a, Warframe. If you're familiar with its development cycle, had the exact same approach.
I'm not.
Okay, so every 3 to 6 months, there's a big update. Everybody signs and plays it, and then everybody gets burned out, and they leave again. And Planetside, and arguably a lot of free-to-play, gaming as a service approaches, have the exact same problem. And the games that do not have that, which I think is very interesting, are the games that focus on kind of a competitive aspect, right? Like Counter-Strike Global Offensive or League of Legends or Smite or these
Jaeger.
Yeah, that's true actually. No, I don't know. Jaeger has, it's too small of a population to actually make a point about, but it's not that wrong. Huh? It's always the same people, and they always kind of play. Like Sondre and from the 1KPM people. You have this as well. They're like, yeah, I don't want to play the game anymore, and then there's a tournament, and they play the tournament, right?
But that's a whole different topic.
Of course, but it's but it is player retention in a way. Yeah, it keeps them around even though they don't want to, right? And the same goes for all these competitive games, right? And so my fix to the up and down player based thing is to increase player retention, and you do that by increasing skill expression and making people want to improve at the game, right?
Yeah.
And I feel that you do that, right? One of the main reasons that our first episode talks about infantry changes, and these, we are pretty radical in a way, right? Because we say that weapon, there's going to be clear limitations per class and clear cut out definitions of what the class does, right? To preserve its identity. And that gives people room to play that class to its logical endpoint. How come that a game like Battlefield, right, has consistent recurring players and Planetside doesn't, even though Planetside has much more systems to keep players coming back, right? You have an overarching XP system, you have an actual clan outfit system, etc. They all tried to make this as a player retention mechanic, and yet it doesn't work. And I think it doesn't work because the core game, like, doesn't let you, enter the self-improvement feedback loop, right? For very few amount of people, this actually happens. Like you could arguably say, for us, etc., it did happen and it happens, right? Like the most fun I've ever had with the game was when I newly joined T, and you dragged me into the Jaeger scene with the, like to make the small little...
Really?
Yeah, that was insane amounts of fun. It was also like, yeah, no, I think so. And I stopped doing it because not stopped doing it. I didn't want to engage much more afterwards with it because of like private reasons, right? As you know, like the police stuff and whatnot. I had like my...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I kind of quit, the game or like went on extended leave for like a year or something, right?
Paid or unpaid?
Huh?
Paid or unpaid?
Unpaid, as it
Not
turns
paid by
out.
me for sure.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
unpaid. We don't have the resources yet.
You didn't perform well enough for me to pay you.
Oof.
Yeah, what do you mean? Oof,
Let's not talk about that
Okay.
Thel too.
Yeah, you're
Fucking hell, dude.
Yeah, Thel demoted himself.
Yeah, Thel like 2 times back-to-back bench warm champion.
No, not like I didn't bench bomb a lane smash, okay? I didn't.
Okay, anyway.
One is legit, okay?
No, but there was a certain spirit, in the whole ordeal that makes you want to come back. Like I look at it, I don't know, it kind of, that's gonna sound a little homoerotic. It kind of touches you more intimately than like going on live does, right? Like you play with your friends and there's like a real, like, are you pulling your weight? Are you doing this correctly here and there, and that is extremely fun, right? To engage in that in that gameplay loop. And it's such a shame that for Planetside, it's like a back alley thing, right? Like you have to meet some shady dude in a bar, and he's gonna fucking get you into Jaeger, and then like it's really hard for the ordinary Planetside man to jump over the shadow and go in there, right? Like they try to get people in with Pogs, but Pogs is just played by the same people all the time, right? Because
Outfit Boss is there now for that, right?
Kind of, but it's too seasonal for that, and it's also too big, I think. Like the game is too small to get right. Like the 48 player thing, right. The idea is that 48 players is just too big, I think, to get people, because it just makes people more burned out. No, like you like you said, no, you didn't play for a while now because you're burned out from Outfit Wars, and I think a lot of people are, right. And so
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't fault Outfit Wars for that. That's kind of just a tournament thing. I think so I think it's a mix of, you played a lot and tournament is exhausting, and the game not being in the greatest state.
Yeah.
Because like if I think I would be playing still if the game was more fun.
If it wasn't
at least not all the time, but like occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's kind of a given. Obviously, we would play the game if it was more fun, yeah. but
yeah, okay.
No, but I mean, it is worth to say, right? Because this comes from a person that spent significant amount of his life investing time into like both making content for his own community, right? Like Hot or T or whatever, right? You get us all to sign up, and you make the spreadsheet and you think out plans and you actually apply yourself to the map, and you also make outside content via streams and videos. Like your infantry series is probably one of the best things a new player can watch before he jumps into the game, and and I feel like it means quite a lot more when you say it than when a mentally unstable individual like me says, I don't want to play Planetside anymore.
I don't know. I wouldn't put much weight in me not wanting to play the game, because it's like, it's more or less normal. It's kind of seasonal for me. I always have like 2 to 3 month breaks where it's like not that much. When you play a game for fucking 10 years, then that just happens.
Yeah.
You can't just fucking blast the same game for 10 years, except when you're like absolutely completely gone in your mind.
Cold and hot.
Yeah.
But you could, I mean, of course, right? But if the game was less stressful and more relaxed, if you could like have like a casual good session without it feeling atrocious, you would sign in like at least once a week for like a 1.5 hour session for sure. And then maybe the boys hop in or something. It doesn't need to be like a 3-month break, is what I'm saying, right?
Here's
Depends
the
on the
thing.
person,
It's
yeah.
like, I don't know, Planetside is like really fun when it works and really frustrating when it doesn't. But you don't get to control that.
Yeah, the kicker is it
So-
works rarely.
Yeah, no, that's the problem, that you can't just like. There's a lot of games where you just go in, it's like, it's a game, you know what to expect. It's like, what do I have on my desktop right now?
It's like the McDonald's thing, no, where like you
you
go
know-
to,
Yeah, if I say like, if I'm looking at like Elden Ring, I go into Elden Ring, I have a great time. Not right now because I've played it way too much. But like, I know what to expect from Elden Ring, and everything's very direct, and
It's a
it's
certain
direct,
experience.
fun gameplay, and I have a good time.
Mhm.
But like on Planetside, I never really know if I'm gonna have a great time or not, and that's like the weird part. And sometimes I don't want to deal with that gamble. Sometimes I'm like, I just take my guaranteed fun time.
Yeah, it's like the the same reason people like repeatedly go back to Burger King or McDonald's, right? It's like it's not good food, but you know what you get, right? It's like, and it's always the same whether or not I'm in Paris or in Brussels. I get the same like fucking cheeseburger out of it, right? And so it's kind of the same with that. Like I go into a Battlefield round, I know I'm what I'm gonna get. Whereas like I go Planetside off hours, I'm gonna get complete experience, like a different experience than if it was like, prime time. So it's like this is also something. I mean, maybe you can answer this, like for you maybe, because so one thing I've never really gotten to terms with is what the optimal player size for Planetside is. Whenever well, this comes kind of back to the consistency of the experience, because the game is widely different when there's low pop than when there's high pop, and I always feel like I have the most fun in medium-sized fights, like 24 to 48, and the rest is kind of meh. Also depends on map design, of course, but I always feel like, especially us on Cobalt, we're kind of lucky that we don't have like a actually giga huge community and there's like 3 continent open, with like mega zergs happening all the time.
I usually like, maybe not the biggest possible fights, but I'm more on like the 50 plus on every side kind of guy, because more people is more kills, pretty much.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
But when it gets too much, then it's just most bases just don't have the capacity for like 100 versus 100, because it's just too packed. And when there's so many people, there's also so many bullshit things that can happen. So much C4 and grenades and tanks and shotguns and everything around, that you just inevitably die to. But the thing is, if we're talking like, let's just assume the servers aren't dog shit once you get to like 900 people.
Mm-hmm.
when you get to
Assume.
when you get to higher player numbers, you get to choose which fight you go to. Like there's enough people on the continent that you have multiple fights,
That's
ideally of different sizes, and then you don't have to have like discussions about preferences, because there's a size for everyone.
Yeah.
That would be the ideal thing. But I mean, it's just we're back to the part where the game is better the more people play.
Yeah, I
But
guess so.
we have to get more people to play without getting more people. So we have to make the game better. Not we, but the devs have to make the game better without getting more people in, to get more people in, to get the game better. Which is just a devious cycle.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we do a pretty okay job at getting the game better in a way, right? Like, because, like, or maybe not we, but people like you right? Like you have your own outfit communities, you're part of the community. No, or I guess me and Thel in a way as well. No, we like appear on community events sometimes and talk smack or whatnot. There's like
Very important.
it breathed more life into what could be a dead game, right? And so I guess in a way the community already creates somewhat its own content. No, this was somewhat of the idea that like me, Felze, and Character had when we made the Dior meme video. No, that it's like, wouldn't it be funny to have like to shit on them, right? And I mean, evidently it was, and
Yeah.
and I feel like that's something that the game can actually get out of it, right? Sometimes games don't need to be crazy big to have a good culture, with one another, and then that gets people interested as well, right? Because instead of just being dropped in Planetside and you have no idea what to do, all of a sudden there's a lot of people that like reach their hand out and want you to be part of it, right? And invite you to kind of have fun, right? And so I feel like I thought this was really funny, by the way, because I had this thought, the same train of thought when I had my night shift yesterday, and then I realized that Doc that named his own podcast the Bridge Burner Podcast, and or the Bridge Burners, and it made me chuckle because I had an interesting conversation, or like a written out conversation with Zealous on one of his videos, and I was thinking about maybe actually, building a bridge and dragging him in. He wants to make a video about Heavy Assault and why he doesn't like him that much, and he also agreed it's more nuanced than just Heavy Assault is OP because of my HP, and I want to hear his take. And if it's like too cooked, I want to ask him if he maybe can appear here, and then we have a talk about it. But I don't know, but I felt like. I mean,
sounds like an interesting idea.
Exactly, right? Because I feel
if
like
you wanna put because I think you have to put effort in to make that work with him because of the way he talks about anything.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Maybe it can turn into something.
Yeah, and so I figured that the maybe the right way to do as a community, because this is also one thing that happens all the time, right? It's like the way in which feedback is delivered is always washed down because of multiple different reasons. If we all could actually approach one another and come to a reasonable consensus, right, and not call each other delusional and degenerate and just fart out, dumb users' opinions at one another, like how are they gonna know what is the right way to move, right? How are you gonna look as a developer if you look on Reddit and you see like an unknown username poking fun at your game decisions, with like 400 karma, and then there's also and then you apply that, and then people have a mental breakdown because of your construction side nerves. Like, how are you supposed to know what direction to go in, right? And so I think that maybe, ironically enough, time to build some bridges. Maybe, you can respectfully disagree, but I feel like
I commend your effort for sure on that, but also seeing how Zealous is like the main perpetrator of this division between the two quote unquote classes of the good players and the casual players.
Yeah, that's
as he says it himself.
Yes.
I don't have much hope in that specific part, I guess. Everywhere else, yes, for sure, because like content creation for Planetside is at an all-time low, if we're being honest. Including me. I'm not doing shit right now. I'm doing my podcast, and even that barely, but like,
I mean, just like this, it's more like a personal endeavor, no? You're just kind of like, you're just gonna go and talk to your friends for a while, and then you just barf it on the internet, right?
It is.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess technically that is what a podcast is supposed to be, It's kind of like a low effort engagement, but
I mean, I do put some preparation behind it.
Yeah, of course,
make it flow.
But relatively, right? Like if you want to have like a 15-minute condensed video presentation about a specific topic, you put in more work than if you have a podcast.
For sure, yeah, way more.
Yeah, and so it's like, for me, I like to believe in this idea. At least I could be completely delusional wrong. Is that through conversation? So it's like me or like us and Zealous and his crew or whatever have a widely different understanding and outlook of the game, on a principle, right? Like the way he looks at the game is fundamentally different than how like a Master Bob looks at it, right? And I think that there's enough wrong with the way we look at things sometimes, right? That it's worth to have a talk with those people to make, out of that conversation, to hopefully get something fruitful out of, because there is a few things we fail to see a lot, right? Like one of the things, or I mean, I say we, but this is something that I discovered in this, like, podcast journey. For example, the change I wanted to do with the maxes, right? I thought, like, a lot of good players will tell you they hate maxes and they want them gone. No, unknown usernames tag is I remove maxes, right? As we hate maxes, okay? But I think that by making them logistically codependent on other game mechanics, you actually give both sides what they want. You have the zealous that wants more logistics and tactical thing about the game to do, and you get less rage pull baby rage maxes in low pop fights for the good players, and so I think there's a lot of alleyways where this can apply, right? But we
Definitely.
and so that's why I would love to have him on and talk about it. But it also depends on how cooked the take is, but we'll see.
It depends on how much he wants to cooperate, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's fair. It will be just laid back conversation. We don't need to. I mean, there's a few things that I find like morally repulsive in a way, right? Like the way that he handled outfit wars and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we don't need to talk about this. This would like specifically be about the heavy thing, right? Because you can. I would love to hear what he has to say about that. I fundamentally disagree with his stance on the outfit war stuff, and so there's not much room for discussion there. But it would be super interesting to hear about it, right? Because it's so hard. It's so hard to get like an honest conversation. I remember, dude, like I posted under one of his videos. He kind of hand waved and said like, "Hey, I have his OP," and I wrote, like a pretty long paragraph on why I think that that's both not correct and also a dead horse, right? And it's like if you want to know, you can watch episode 1 of the podcast why. But but he actually agreed with a lot that I said, and said that it's actually more nuanced than that, and that he marked a comment and whatnot, and then you had somebody else call me delusional, and so I thought, like, there was at least like an honest, good spirited conversation we had, and that was nice to have, and maybe it's important to actually have it in person. Right, and so if he puts out a video, I'm gonna hit him up and see if we can maybe get something to work. That would be interesting. But all this, yeah, no, go ahead.
Honestly, the whole thing about the if Celis wants the tactical stuff to be improved or something, is what you said earlier, right? I think some people don't have a clear like view on that, because I think good players will also be better tactically, right? They have a better understanding of the game, how to move around, and so I think the whole what needs to be done, in Zealous' opinion, comes down to a mentality standpoint, I think, because he's okay with the zerging and this and that, and like.
I mean, I'm also okay
I
with
think
the
it's less.
zerging.
Yeah, okay, but it's different. I mean, you should then watch the. What was it again? Lancer. I think he did a podcast with Celis. Was pretty ridiculous. Some stuff that was said there.
Mhm.
I think saying like, yeah, we need more tactical stuff, because then the
Like,
the outfit leaders can have a bigger impact. Yeah, the DokPs are gonna have a bigger impact because they are just better at the game.
well,
And
I mean, but look, nothing about that is wrong, right? Like, I mean, sorry, but you have the same. Like, what is it that we wanted to do with the Fixing Planetside series? No, the reasons or the solutions we put in aren't balanced, right? They're not to be like ultimate meta balance. No, they give classes and like, you know, at least in idea, they make them stronger, but they limit in which, you know, where they can apply themselves. So they have to work together. It creates like meaningful interaction. And whether or not that is then completely balanced or whatnot, that is another discussion, right? And so Zealous, in principle, yearns for the same thing that we yearn for, and that is to have meaningful interaction, right? And not just like clicking the map and having a fucking like, you know, like a banner there or whatnot, or just clicking and you get an OS. It's like whatever, you know. Like I want to have a meaningful interaction with the people that I play with, right? And so fundamentally speaking, he doesn't come from a very different place. He just perceives. He just comes at different conclusions because he filters his perception through different, you know, filters than us, right? And so that's why I think it would be great to have a talk, because the community fails to do that like a lot. Like you
have the separated communities, right?
I mean, you can't really have a talk. Like I remember, dude, like you legit can't go and have a normal conversation. I mean, I guess on Reddit, whatever.
Everyone's in that bubble. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it would be great to hand out a hand. But with that being said, I think we're spinning in circuits now. I think maybe our dialogue batteries are emptied, right? I have a final question for Doc. It's actually kind of 3 questions, okay? So
that's a lot of questions.
If you had if you were given the reins, okay, lead designer DokP, and you had 3 changes to make, what would you do?
I would completely revamp a continent. At this point, I guess it would be Esamir. It used to be Indra. I used to have, I don't know if I ever said that, but I think it would have been a cool idea to actually take Indra out of the continent rotation, which is probably never going to happen because like millions of people are going to be like, oh, I want to play Indra, what the fuck? And then everyone's going to quit and they're way too afraid of that. So that's probably not happening. But like, I think just completely revamping a continent the game needs map changes. Ideally, my 3 changes would be revamp Indra, revamp Esamir, and revamp Osho, but that would be a bit boring. So let's say just revamp a continent.
Okay.
Again, and then probably one of those max changes where you give it less damage and make it more tanky. There's been like tons of approaches to that. I don't know. I guess just like half the damage and fire rate and everything, and give it more defensive moves.
So remove Max's trademarks.
Well, remove the part where they just completely mow down infantry without any.
I mean, they
any opposition.
They recently got a damage increase of 25% out of nowhere. So.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, and last wish.
Then let me think. I'm sure I could come up with a really good answer if you just like let me think about it for the day. But
it has to come from the heart, not from the mind. We just spill
it. I don't know. I don't think I got anything that massive.
That's okay. It can be something small. No, it can be. You know, there's. I believe there's a lot of power in small things, like my penis.
Okay, the tank multipliers, tank damage.
Like
I think like giving the 2 times damage multiplier back.
Oh yeah.
For rear damage and for the top gun, I guess too.
That's a good one.
Let's go with that because I used to really enjoy tanking.
Yeah, I remember.
I dropped.
I mean, I didn't play with you then, But I remember
Yeah,
we
no.
played like Mag Rider and shit, and that
Yeah.
was like a lot of fun, dude.
For sure, I love playing. I need to play
Time to
some Crab
tank.
again because yeah. But yeah, I was like almost a Mag Rider main in the like few months before the I dropped, and then that happened, and then it kind of like dropped off gradually. So revamp a map, slash max damage in half, get tank damage back up to make it more, I want to say volatile, but that's maybe not the right word. But
Yeah, like just to reward skill more, right? Like to get to actually reward people flanking. Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah, no. That sounds perfectly reasonable. I would if it were, if those were prototype patch notes, I would sign them. Like yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I guess with that, it was nice to have you on, Doc. Yeah. Sadly, Thel is a bit sick, so he was a bit more quiet than usual.
Yeah, it was a bit quiet. But yeah.
It's okay. All right.
Oh, I just wanted to say one thing. In a previous episode, I was talking about leading and how Doc's stake is in the game, basically in our community, and I fumbled my sentence. And apparently, I basically said Doc doesn't do anything. Oh, he's like, well, let me do a quick correction there.
No, that's weird when you like praise me on here.
Yeah, no, but it's just not true. It was fake news, yeah. No, and I'm not sucking his dick, okay, Schmiddy? No, it's just that Doc. Yeah, now you can't take it seriously anymore.
Doc, you actually matter. You actually don't.
We value your efforts and work ethic in organizing and doing everything you've done over the years. And,
you're actually a real person. Thank you.
Yeah, one of the players.
Smile.
One of the people.
Yeah, but seriously, okay? No joke, guys.
Who also exists, all the 5 people that listen to this till the end, which will be 3 us. Yeah, us 3 and 2 other lost souls. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.